Radicalization is real. Think about terrorists 20 years ago. Those are the ones being radicalized to do what they do. But no, I mean, people have been radicalized. There's no question about it. I mean, people that think Trump is a fascist, they think he's crazy, he's a bad person. I mean, you've literally lost your way. And this isn't even a political statement. This is just common sense. And I think that's why sanity has prevailed a little bit in this country. I think the bigger question is, can people be de-radicalized now? You almost look at it with MSNBC, with their morning host who met with Trump, which was kind of a big step. And they realized, oh, this guy is sane. They used to be friends with him. Same thing with the host of The View. I mean, things have just fallen off a cliff to such a level. It's just, you wonder, can they subtly come back or are they gone?
The problem is the reason why we're either radicalized or we're just desensitized. And that's what happens is most people don't even know who their congressman is. They don't know who their state senator is. But the people that get radicalized in one way or the other are usually affected by bad policies. I don't know. How do we de-radicalize people? I guess make people laugh is how I de-radicalize somebody.
Well, I think there's a lot of weakness in the generation. They're so weak, there's no discipline. They cry over everything. I mean, people that have this Trump derangement syndrome, it's a real thing for no reason. Who doesn't want to have a better America? And you got people against America.
All right, brace yourselves, everybody. This is going to be one explosive and exciting and fun hour. Welcome. I'm Tom Zenner. Tom Zenner on YouTube, co-host of One Degree of Scandalous with the one and only Cato Kalin.
Snails.
In the house.
Love it.
All right, so we've been working on this episode for a long time. Cato, and I gratitude to you for suggesting it. I've been anxious to talk to our guest in a few seconds. You're going to recognize him. This is going to be a lot of fun. You ready to bring him in?
I love this guy, so let's bring him in. Are you ready to bring? I feel like we're culture jamming. We're going to find out that term because it sounds kind of sexual, doesn't it?
I've never thought of it that way.
Well, let's culture jam.
Maybe we can hear your interpretation and your definition of culture jamming a little bit later. Stay tuned for that. But Alex Stein, Prime Time Stein. What a great moniker. What a great way to tag what you do, Alex. Of course, you know Alex from The Blaze. You see him pop up on your YouTube feed, your Instagram, your TikTok, especially as we were heating up at the end of the election. Alex, pleasure to have you. Welcome back to LA digitally. I know you had a little stint here, but this is where sanity prevails, right here in LA, baby.
Well, guys, it's an honor and a privilege to speak to you, Tom. You know, you're a celebrity, but obviously you and I will never be the celebrity that Cato Kalin was and is. And that the day that he spoke on that jury stand or in front of that jury, that was one of the most influential court cases and influential moments in American culture. So it's an honor and a privilege just to be here, fellas.
I think this is where we should swear Alex in then. You swear to tell the whole truth. Nothing but the truth.
Yeah, I do, Cato, I do. And Cato, you're so funny. You know, that's one other thing I have to say. Cato Kalin is one of the most positive, nice guys. I remember when I was working as a production assistant and extra on stuff, I ran into Cato, and Cato was incredibly nice to me, incredibly gracious. Tom, I've never met you in person, but for a lot of people playing at home, you're like, why is Cato successful, or why has he been able to have a career for so long? It's because Cato's a salt of the earth guy, and that probably doesn't get talked about enough, Cato.
Wow, thanks.
Yeah, Cato's the man. There's no question about it. And I expect some fast flying barbs here coming up in the next hour, so I'm going to be ready.
For sure. Well, I got to butter Cato up before I can ever tease him. But
thanks for the buttering up. I'm going to do a little buttering right now because Tom knows I play poker sometimes with a lot of guys from Sirius XM. They have radio shows, and we do radio. Then we do poker. And I said that you're going to be the guest. Everyone went, Alex Stein? We love Alex Stein. Ask him these questions. So I did actually write out these questions for later, and they're so excited for this episode to come out. So Alex, I want you to know, sometimes you don't realize it when you're on X or Instagram that how many people actually appreciate what you're doing until you hear it from other people going, did you see that one of Alex? And so did you hear what he said? Did you see him, the guy who wanted to see his testicles? All these things. Then you realize, yeah, this medium does work. It's really out there, and the cell phone and everything else, that's the new medium now. I mean, MSNBC, goodbye. CNN, goodbye. Yeah. It's now a complete new audience.
And it's going to be fun just to find out the process that Alex goes through to do this. And we're going to peel back that onion a little bit too, because, man, it takes a special talent. It takes guts. It takes balls. It takes quick wit, intelligence, and just human interaction. So we're going to talk about all that in just a second. Alex, I got to start you off with this, though. You're in Dallas right now. You work for The Blaze, Glenn Beck's great network. Lived around the country, but you went to Highland Park High School. And Cato, I don't know if you know this, but do you know the names of people that went to Highland Park High School? Alex, what an alumni base. Listen to this. Clayton Kershaw, Scotty Scheffler, okay? top 5 golfer in the world.
Yeah.
Forget Matt
I'm not
Stafford,
done.
Super Bowl
Hey, I'm not done. I got a list.
He's got a list. He's a
Hang
sports guy.
hang on, Alex. We got Matt Stafford, Angie Harmon, the actress, Bobby Night Train Lane, Doak Walker. This is insane. Jane Mansfield. Oh, and I got to ask you about this one to put you on the spot, Alex. Did John Hinckley Jr., who would try to assassinate President Ronald Reagan, did he literally go to Highland Park High School in Dallas?
Yes, my dad went to school with John Hinckley Jr. I think John Hinckley Jr. was a grade below my dad, if I remember right. So they were in school together. That John Hinckley Jr. actually came from a nice family. My dad said his parents were incredibly nice and that they were really, well liked in the community. Obviously, after that happened, they got a lot of kickback. But that John Hinckley was just kind of a nice, normal kid, how my dad described it.
What the hell happened? Your dad and some other guys stuff him in a locker or something, give him some swirlies and bully him a little bit, and he went nuts?
Well, if you really want to get into it, because I'm a conspiracy theorist, I think that he was probably mentally ill, and he was said that he wanted to impress Jodie Foster. So I don't know. I think there was something more to it. Maybe he was brainwashed into doing it. I know that sounds crazy, but I do think it's weird how he's kind of a normal guy. Then he went and thinks he's going to impress Jodie Foster by shooting Ronald Reagan. So I don't know. Whenever this stuff happens, I think it's an MK Ultra thing. Are you guys familiar with MK Ultra?
Break it down. Break it down for us.
I follow MK Ultra.
Well, it's that the government can basically brainwash us, and they definitely can do it in this modern era with the digital landscape. They can just make your algorithm just get recommended stuff that can put you in a low vibrational mood or a high vibrational mood. And I'm all about vibrational energies. I don't know if you guys know this, but we are energetic beings. And when you see a lot of low vibrational stuff, it can bring you into a low vibrational point. It can make you suicidal, make you depressed. So I think with modern day technology and the mass media that we're constantly, just the social media and TV, that we can actually radicalize. They said it was the video games. You guys remember they said the video games are doing it? That's probably part of it, but there's all kinds of other digital media that can radicalize a person and make them go insane.
I think Hinckley probably watched Taxi Driver over 1,000 times and just probably believed it was real, and just said
probably. Honestly, that sounds crazy, Kato, but that's probably what happened.
I'm sure that's part of it with his mental illness. I don't know if he did drugs, but maybe the drugs with that probably added.
You know what? I don't even think you have to call it a conspiracy theory anymore. Radicalization. That was one of the topics literally that I really wanted to talk to you about today, because radicalization is real. You think about terrorists, maybe 20 years ago, those are the ones being radicalized to do what they do. But no, people have been radicalized. There's no question about it. People that think Trump is a fascist, they think he's crazy, he's a bad person. You've literally lost your way. And this isn't even a political statement. This is just common sense. And I think that's why sanity has prevailed a little bit in this country. But if you just step back and looked at things, what is the point of having an open border? Do you see the damage that has been done from that? And just how this world could be different if the election went a different way. So I don't even think it's a conspiracy. I think the bigger question is, can people be de-radicalized now, right? You almost look at it with MSNBC, with their morning host who met with Trump, right, which was kind of a big step. And they realized, oh, this guy is sane. They used to be friends with him. Same thing with the host of The View. Things have just fallen off a cliff to such a level, Alex, and Cato. It's just, you wonder, can they subtly come back, or are they gone? And we got to face 4 more years of these loonies, but maybe not listen to them as much.
Well, I think the pendulum, kind of swings back. You see the media, they're changing their tune a little bit with Trump. But when you talk about the de-radicalization, the problem is the reason why we're either radicalized or we're just desensitized. And that's what happens is most people don't even know who their congressman is. They don't know who their state senator is. Most people aren't tapped in because they're worried about their jobs, they're worried about their girlfriend, their kids, and whatnot. So those are the people that are just kind of checked out. But the people that get radicalized in one way or the other are usually affected by bad policies, open border. You look at Lake and Riley. Obviously, I don't think any of us are anti-immigration, but you just said, when we have an open border, illegal immigrants with criminal records can just come into our country. But if we had a criminal record, we can't go to Canada. We can't go to certain countries. So we just don't want a 2-tier justice system, different rules for different people. So I don't know. How do we de-radicalize people? I almost think it's impossible to just kind of de-radicalize someone unless you can change how they're being affected by bad policies or the world that we're living in. So I don't know. Maybe make people laugh. I guess make people laugh is how I de-radicalize somebody.
I think there's a lot of weakness in the generation. They're so weak. There's no discipline. They cry over everything, and they're just. I mean, people that had this Trump derangement syndrome, it's a real thing for no reason. It's just because I think it's the way they are in school, who the teachers are, and then it goes to college, and they're like you said earlier, they're brainwashed. And who doesn't want to have a better America? And you have people against America.
I am so excited to say that I am finally officially on Minect. If you haven't heard about Minect, it's the brainchild of Patrick Bet-David and his Valuetainment team. And it's a way for people like me, people like Cato, people that have done something for a long time and have a lot of insight to help you. You can text me. We can set up a video call. I answer 100% of my messages on Minect. Scan the QR code. You're going to learn all about it. You're going to see how I can help you. If you're in the media business, if you're looking to write a book, I've written over 40 books, published books that have sold millions and millions of copies. And I've learned along the way, whether it's self-publishing, if you're looking for an agent, if you're looking for an editor, if you want to be connected with a major publishing company, I know the ins and outs of creating a book from start to finish that will save you money, do it economically, and be able to expose it to your audience. Another thing too is if you're in the podcast world, I've been doing this a long time. I've been on television for 30 years. I've seen the evolution. I'm still in it. I understand the promotion game, the marketing game, the production game, how to book guests, and how to monetize it. So I've been doing this a long time. You can learn from my mistakes, things that I've learned from watching and being part of some of the biggest podcasts in the world. I was on 36 of the first 100 episodes of the PBD podcast, now a top 10 podcast in the world. So there's a lot of knowledge I can share with you. Book some time with me on Minect. One other way I can help you is if you have kids that are looking to pursue sports in college, or if you have athletic kids who can take it to the next level. I was a Division I athlete. I got myself recruited. I got a scholarship. My older daughter was a Division I soccer player, very successful, NCAA tournament for 4 years in soccer, two-time captain for 2 years. My middle daughter is now a track and field athlete at Boston College, and my son is going to be a Division I athlete as well. So there's a real nuance, there's a real science, there's some things that you need to know to navigate that world of exposing your kid to these schools, finding the opportunities, and getting them to compete on that next level. Reach out to me on Minect. I answer 100% of my messages. We can do it in different ways: a live call, a video message, a text. So check it out, scan the QR code, go into the description of this episode on our YouTube channel right now, and you'll have a link that can take you directly to my Minect page. I hope to see you there, and I would love to help you in any way I can. Well, here's another thing I think that will help is it all comes down financially. Can you make a living being a radical, being radicalized? Yes, you could for the last 4, 6, 8 years, a very healthy living. What's going to happen in the next 4 years? These people that have all these problems, that want to claim that America is the source of all evil and it's so horrible here, they're not going to be funded. They're not going to have money. They're not going to be able to survive on that. And then maybe some family members, some friends, some people, or just the art of survival, that they have to make a living somehow or go get a real job. And this just is accepted in the mainstream anymore. And they're going to be forced to realize, hey, this place isn't that bad. If you have any sense of history, I mean, I'm appalled by people that complain constantly. I hate people with no gratitude. The lack of gratitude and greed are the worst qualities to me in a human being. I just hate that. We're so blessed to live in these times that we live in. And you have no sense of what's gone on in the rest of the billions of years of the history of this planet. You're a freaking idiot. So anyway, I think some of that may subtly come, but they're so entrenched with their thoughts, right? And feelings being at the forefront of all of it, Alex. So I think all we can do is hope for the best.
Well, no, and you're right. Like, gratitude is so important. Even when times are tough, there's always somebody that has it worse than you. And even though comparison is the thief of joy, I'm just saying we really should, sometimes take a minute to count our lucky stars, but we don't. But this is like, it's a two problem. It's like there's two major problems. Is that we're killing the middle class. So people are coming out of college in huge debt, and they can't afford to even buy a single family home. So they constantly have to rent. So you're not even able to really invest in this country. So once they delete the middle class and they make it so impossible to make a living, it turns us all into victims. And that's what they want us to have. That's what the young people have, this victimhood mentality. Even AOC, I'm most famous. The thing that propelled me the most is when I went to Washington, D.C., and I said, AOC, you're my favorite big booty Latina. It was a joke, and she like pieced me up. But then she went on to make 16 Instagram videos claiming how terrible it was. She misrepresented what I said that I told her she had a hot, juicy ass. But my point with all that is that she's a congresswoman, one of the youngest congresswomen ever elected to Capitol Hill, and she still plays a victim. So we have a society where everybody wants to share how big of a victim they are. We have to stop doing that. And until we stop playing the victim, we're not going to have a good society. But it is easy for somebody to be a victim if you can't afford to buy a house. You can't afford to live and have a decent life.
I'm going to go on this AOC point. I think I'm right. This is my theory of AOC. She's young. She was a bartender. She relates to people that she can get into these Instagram kind of people that are very weak, and she knows how to play. She does makeup videos. This is someone that's a representative. She does these videos that you would do on TikTok that have nothing to do with politics. So I think she's more about being a celebrity than being, helping America. I'm not a big AOC fan at all. I think she
you're right, Cato. You're 100% right.
Wants to be the celebrity, and I think I remember that video of you. She was walking up the stairs, right? You said, "I love your booty" or something, and I
just said, "You're my favorite big booty Latina." That's what I said, and then she went on her Instagram and said, "I just got verbally assaulted by a guy. He said I had a hot, juicy ass," which I didn't say, but that's what she said, and so that became a meme, like big, juicy ass, and then they would show Trump's butt.
She instantly turned it political. But the other thing you could tell from what you did when you ambushed her a little bit in a good way, is she was into it. I mean, she's got so much charisma. She really does. She is beautiful. She's very attractive. And here's the other thing too. If you pulled the politics away from her, she'd be fun to hang out with. I think she'd be a cool person to hang out with and have a good time. But politics is just that thing that infiltrates everything. If you were to just take out the negative aspects of the media and politics from this culture and from this country, and sports and entertainment and family and just, all the choices for entertainment that we have on television, life is so damn good. But you always get sucked in with this negativity of all these victims. But back to AOC's point, she's going to be a heavy hitter. She's going to be a player for a long time on the Democratic side. I see her running for president probably someday, but I think it'll be a different time in the U.S. and because they have to readjust in some way. I mean, what they did clearly didn't work. I think the interesting thing to find out is, what other things do they have up their sleeve now, right? What the Democrats, like the real radical Democrats, what's the next play for them? Yeah.
My thing is, and Alex, you let me know, I think the Republican side is just so much smarter than the Democrat side. I think Democrats are all about DEI hires. I don't think anybody's into the meritocracy. You want the best. If my pilot is not the best flying an airplane, I want the best pilot. I want the best doctor if I need an operation. I don't want this. I want meritocracy, and I think it has to be that way for a better America. And I think that's with AOC running and all that. I think she's on not the smart side. I mean, I've seen her before on against other Congress people, and she just gets blown away. So, I mean, if people are going to vote for her that aren't as smart as, well, us. So
I'm not that smart. No, but Cato, this is the thing, is AOC is charismatic, and Vogue described her as being the third most popular politician behind Biden and Trump. Now, whether that's true or not, it's pretty close to true. We know that she's like a top 5 famous politician. So it's not even about talent. And this is one thing I actually, and I do agree with you, the Republicans are a little morally better. I think they have a better grasp with reality than the leftists that want to let, transgender men compete against women. But at the same time, the conservatives are terrible too. They're bad on both sides. See, that's the problem with DC, is that a lot of these conservatives too, they're the ones that are voting to send bombs and to go start world wars all over the country. If the conservatives are all good too, most people are in the middle. Like all of us, we're probably in the middle. We just probably lean to the right because we want the government to stop screwing things up. And really what makes a person conservative? You want less government. We want limited government. The more the government gets involved, the more things are going to be screwed up. But I'll just tell you this much, Cato. I've talked to politicians on both sides. AOC, at least she's honest. She might be loony as hell, and she might let trans people compete against biological females. She might want an open border, but she's honest about it. A lot of conservative politicians act like they're so conservative and act like they're anti-war, act like they're really about limited government when they're the exact opposite. So both sides to me are crooked.
And that's why Trump did so well, is because he appealed to those people because he's not a typical politician. And then his whole thing was common sense. And that's what everybody wants. You know, AOC to me isn't a politician. She's a brand. I mean, she literally is a brand, and it's whether you like that brand. You don't have to be intelligent to run for president. We just saw what happened. Okay, it's not a prerequisite. But she is, you know, she's someone that can attract people. She knows how to speak, so she will be a player, I think, down the road. You know, she's not going away. For sure. That's for damn sure.
For sure. And she'll probably run, but I think Gavin Newsom's going to be ahead of her. And that's why they basically let Kamala run, because they probably didn't even want her. I think Joe Biden endorsed her immediately. And so they just said, hey, let's go with her. And then Gavin was smart. He's like, hey, listen, I'm not going to run a half-assed 3-month campaign. I'll wait till I can do the full thing. And that's what Gavin's going to do. And believe it or not, even though when he was the mayor of San Francisco, he slept with his staffer's wife. He's, the homeless problem in California has only gotten much worse. He's probably next in line to run for president and to see California, the greatest state in America. And I'm not saying that just as a Texan, that, you think I got all this Texas pride. California is the most beautiful state. It has some of the coolest culture, Hollywood. But now all of that has just been demonized. It's gross. We hate it. Like, it's just sad to see how much California has fallen just from the early 2000s, when every reality show, do you guys remember this? Every reality show is California this, California that. And in just 20 years, the state has gone so far downhill, and Gavin Newsom is going to be the guy that probably runs for president next after doing a terrible job.
Yeah, he's terrible. He's not going to get anywhere. But I got to tell you, since you brought up Hollywood, isn't it amazing, Alex, that it doesn't matter if you're a celebrity anymore. Celebrity endorsements mean nothing. They absolutely, George Clooney means nothing. Any celebrity, Ben Stiller endorsing means nothing. And I think it's because, well, someone like you have more fame. You have all this fame. I think people trust you more than a celebrity. I think people with their phone, their instant stars on social media. That's why I think it's completely done. You've got Cardi B, the Kamala, Beyonce, Obama, who's done.
No, that's just
done.
Accepted now. Everybody knows that celebrities carry no weight.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Cato, did you say that Gavin is not going to be relevant?
No, I said Gavin has no chance.
Well, we'll see, because he's going to finish out his term as governor here, so he's going to have that success as a 2-term governor. He'll have 2 years to build up a momentum, and this guy's out of central casting.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
He is out of central casting. Like, he's literally, if you had to create a player video game, make a politician, you would make Gavin Newsom.
If the next 4 years go incredible, which I think they will, I think the Republicans will have it with Trump and Vance. I think it's going to be a 25, 28-year run.
Oh, my God.
I really do.
Let's see. I mean, Cato, things change quickly in this country,
If it's going to be great economy, if it's going to be great no war, I think actions speak louder than words, and I think that's what Trump's all about. Actions speak louder than words.
By the way, speaking of victims, I think there's one victim that we're talking to, and it's Alex Stein. Holy crap. You're a fan of the Dallas Cowboys and the LSU Tigers. You talk about 2 meltdowns inside internally. These things are spontaneously combusting in front of our eyes. I'm sorry they have to deal with that on every Saturday and Sunday throughout the fall, Alex.
I mean, LSU, they had a terrible loss against A&M a few weeks back, and I mean, they've obviously had a bunch of bad losses, but that game was extra bad. Their backup quarterback came in and absolutely just ran over LSU. They're just not a good team this year. We got to fire a coach. He stinks. Brian Kelly stinks. But with the Dallas Cowboys, a lot of people say that I'm anti-LGBTQ, but that's not true. I'm very pro-LGBTQ because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and there's nothing gayer than being a Dallas Cowboys fan because we stink. You know what I mean? And I love the Dallas Cowboys. Like, don't get me wrong. I bleed this royal blue. But they stink. Jerry Jones stinks. And, I used to give Jerry Jones a break, even though they fired Jimmy Johnson after winning a Super Bowl. That doesn't make sense. But this is what made me mad is I didn't realize that Jerry Jones got a flight attendant pregnant in Little Rock, Arkansas, because he'd fly there. He's a big Arkansas booster. That's where he played college football, believe it or not. And he signed a deal where he was going to give this girl a trust fund, give her a Range Rover, pay for her college, but she could never admit that she was his daughter, excuse me. Well, she came out just a couple years ago and said, hey, I'm out of money. I need some money from my biological dad. And he sued her for breaking their NDA not to disclose that he's her father. So it's just like, Jerry Jones, you're a billionaire. I get it. You had a daughter out of wedlock. That looks bad, but go be a dad. You got $1 billion. The only reason you don't want to be a dad to her is because of your ego, because of how you'll be perceived in the world. It's like, go love your daughter. So if you'll treat your daughter like that, then he doesn't care about his fans. He doesn't care about the Dallas Cowboys, and he doesn't care about winning. He just cares about making money and having some sort of image of success.
So how did that case go though with the girl? Did she?
Yeah, he gave her more money and she shut the hell up.
Oh, he did. I was gonna say he
happened,
settled. He settled because he got bad press.
They settled and she's not talking to any other press or doing anything. So yeah, so it worked out. And she went to SMU. He bought her a Range Rover. He did do some stuff for her. And it's not like he just totally turned his back on her, but you can't even admit, like, we get it. Nobody cares you cheated on your wife. Nobody cares that Bill Clinton did that stuff with Monica Lewinsky. Like, we act like it's such a big deal, but nobody really cares unless you're the person getting cheated on. So it's just it's just a really weird situation.
And it makes you more likable when you take responsibility and say you made a mistake, right? Because we know what happened. There's the truth and reality to it. He doesn't waste time. That's not a long flight from Dallas to Little Rock. You know, takes care of business quickly.
And this is a while ago. You know, he was rich, but I don't think he had the private jet yet, obviously. And this is like in the 89 or 90 or 91, I believe, you know, in the heyday.
You know, I don't live in Dallas. I'm not a huge Cowboy fan, but I do like Jerry. I don't know what it is. You know, he had a lot of success early, and I think that spoiled him. You know, 3 Super Bowls quickly. He thinks it's easy, and then he gets rid of the people that really made it happen, right? And then he thinks everybody can be interchangeable. You bring in Barry Switzer, you win a Super Bowl, and you think, boom, it's that easy. But
well, it's a Belichick theory, too. It's like, which Tom can't stand Belichick, but Belichick had Brady, so that's why they kept winning. And then Brady's gone and Belichick's done.
Yeah, I just don't. It's like now I'm softening on Belichick because I like his personality. He's come out a little bit. I like the fact he's got a young girlfriend. I think that makes him human. Yeah. But no, where's your humility, bro? I mean, you won those Super Bowls because of Brady. And it's been proven. It's not even, you can't even argue it. I mean, when you look at what Belichick's done on his own, the other guy that's in my crosshairs right now is Greg Popovich. I just can't stand him. I mean, with his political, he's just a nut. I mean, wait, would he even coach? Would he care about one of his players if he didn't believe politically what he believes when he's that out there? I think he's going to stunt Wemby's growth. I really do. And this guy gravy trained off Hall of Famers and won titles again. So Popovich, not a fan.
What do you guys both think of, like, Popovich and Steve Kerr and Doc Rivers all taking political views and all endorsing big time, like endorsed Harris? But do you think that's right for sports to do that? Do you think they eliminate a lot of people attending those games? Alex, I'll go to you for what do you think of coaches?
Well, actually, I kind of want to answer it in 2 parts, and I'll try to be quick. You know, you brought up early celebrity endorsements don't mean anything, and, you know, obviously coaches are celebrities. And then you brought up Beyonce. I went to the Kamala Harris rally. It was 30,000 people. It was packed at the Houston Dynamos, the soccer team in Houston. I drove down there for it and had to wait in line for it was like an hour and 30 minutes before we got in. But the line was bumping, talking to people. I saw so many single mothers with their daughters, with their sons too. Oh, we're so excited to go see Beyonce. We couldn't afford to see her when she was on her Revolution tour, or I forget she just had a tour. It's called like Revolution or something like that. But I would hear him say, oh, we're so excited. They said she's going to do 3 songs. And then you'd hear somebody be like, nah, she's just doing 1 song. And somebody said, no, she's going to do a full concert. You know, all these people have these different what's going to happen because nobody really said that, hey, she's not going to perform. So then we go to the rally. We're sitting there. Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles, introduces her. She comes out. She speaks for 3 minutes and walks right off the stage, and everybody left. And that is the bait and switch that Kamala Harris's whole campaign was. You know, she spent $1 billion running against $20 million in debt. And I'm just saying, these celebrities, they broke so many hearts that Beyonce couldn't go up there and just sing 1 3-minute song. Even if it was terrible, it would have made that crowd so happy. So my point is, these celebrities really don't care. She didn't care enough to perform, and all these people want to see her. Just sing 1 song, and she couldn't do that, and she really made a lot of people mad. And then Steve Kerr and Greg Popovich, dude, these guys, all they want to do is virtue signal. They're both great coaches. Steve Kerr was a great player, but then they get this thing in their head where they have all this white guilt. I don't understand why they have that, and it's just really, really ruined sports when they just sit there and say Trump is a Nazi. It's like, dude, we don't want to hear you talk about Trump. Talk about Wemby. Talk about the game. Like, this is, you guys can be a little political, but you don't need to go on a rant every press conference about Donald Trump. Coach a basketball team.
Right, 100% correct.
You know, I've known Steve Steve Kerr for 30 years since he was a player for the Bulls, and I had a great relationship with him back then. I saw him over the summer, so I'm a little biased on that one. But I think maybe partly with Steve Kerr is where he lives and where he coaches, San Francisco. I mean, you can't have, I mean, you almost have to, fall in line with some of those political beliefs. If you're in the heart of that city, you're winning titles, you're in front of the cameras all the time. So I get it. I don't like politics being mixed into sports at all. And now that we're out of this election cycle, I hope we can just move forward.
Yeah, but Tom, now every athlete's doing the damn Trump dance. Have you seen that? The sports leagues have to be sick. Every celebration's a Trump dance.
It is now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But that way it's okay in politics to bring it in and have fun with it. Otherwise, if it's serious, no. But the Trump dance, come on. That's all about fun.
See, Cato, you nailed it. See, that's fun. Like, why can't the left, why can't Biden have something fun? Like, even we have FJB. That was fun. People would yell at sports games. Like, if politics are fun, then it should be in sports. But if you're going to go on a rant and just trying to guilt trip half of your fans, because let's just be real, it is the even though Trump won overwhelmingly, we're split about 50-50. So when you go up there and you give us this long political speech on a soapbox, you're pissing off 50% of the San Antonio Spurs fans, or maybe only 30% of the Golden State Warriors fans, because they're basically in San Francisco. But my point is, you're just picking a battle and not making it fun. Go do a Trump dance, go do a Kamala Harris dance, go do a Joe Biden dance. That is funny. When they make it all serious, it's just you just want to clock out.
Yeah. And I think Biden was never funny until towards the end of the campaign. When he put the Trump hat on, he finally said, I have a sense of humor. He puts on a Trump hat. You've got Jill Biden in red on the day of voting. It's like these little signals they're giving, like, we voted for Trump. It's a possibility.
They voted for Trump, Cato. They had to, because also, but Joe Biden is all about his political, resume, and he loves that he's the only person to beat Donald Trump. And when he loves that, whether you want to say the election was fortified or whatever, but I'm just saying, on paper, Joe Biden is the only guy to beat Donald Trump, and he wanted to keep it that way, and he definitely did not want Kamala to win. So I think Jill wearing red, that sent a big message to not just conservatives, but probably to all the liberals. Like, I think that was obvious that she voted for him.
Also, was she sitting next to her in the balcony? I forget what the event was. They did not speak. They did not look at each other. Jill Biden and Kamala Harris didn't even look. It was just you could feel uncomfortable watching it, going, oh, there's so much hate here. There's so much hate.
It wasn't even subtle. I mean, a red dress. I mean, I can imagine if you wore a red boutonniere or something, like, hey, maybe you got to read between the lines, but there was nothing subtle about it.
She was in all MAGA. She was the only thing she was missing was the MAGA hat. That's the only thing she was in. She was in all red outfit. She's the first lady. Even though, people have criticized some of her outfits, they said they'd look like, a couch cushion or, some of her stuff. Well, she didn't mess up with that outfit. It was pretty clear. A plain red dress and blazer. Like, it was, that could not have been an accident. On election day, give me a break. That was
I got a lot of respect for Melania. How she refused to meet with Jill Biden because of how Jill Biden handled the assassination attempt, right? Good for her, man. Way to stand up and not just give in and do some phony little, photo op, right? I mean, I thought it was, she's a beast behind the scenes, I think. She really is.
She is. And I think being the first lady is incredibly hard, and people don't realize that. They think it, like, imagine Doug Emhoff would have been the first man. Give me a break. But I think it is hard because you're going to get unfairly attacked, and then they put Michelle Obama all over Vogue, but they didn't put Melania, who's an actual model, on one magazine cover. So it's like, it's only bad for her. Of course, she probably didn't choose for Donald Trump to run. I'm sure and I'm just guessing this, I don't know, and I know she's proud of her husband, but she probably wanted to be with her billionaire husband and have a very relaxing life where they just get to travel and have fun. Being president in the schedule that Donald Trump has and does, it just shows you that he actually cares about this country, because that is impossible. Most people his age would love to just be retired, and he goes and grinds his ass off every day, and that's not easy, and it's probably hard as a wife too to do all that travel. So it's not an easy job being the first lady, and she didn't get enough credit, Tom.
I think also the thing was that Trump 68 straight days not taking a break, of being in at least 3 cities every day till election. I mean, I travel, pretty much. One flight kills me to go up.
That's what I'm saying. Cato, I know we're not on Air Force One, but I just flew back on Southwest. Yesterday it was a perfect flight. There wasn't even turbulence, but I'm still so tired. One flight for me. And I'm I'm young. You're relatively young. Like, we're not old. We're not Donald Trump's age. But it does. I'm saying that the flight affects us. It's crazy how it doesn't affect him.
You know, things are going bad for Biden on Air Force One when they only poured him half a soda. They didn't even give him the whole can. It's like, you're over.
Yeah.
You get half
Yeah, we don't want to waste all the Coca-Cola. It's like Spirit Airlines.
can of soda. It's like, it's over for you.
I think the key is, if we're like traveling a lot, man, we got to load up on McDonald's. I mean, it works for Trump, right? Pound those quarter pounders and Big Macs, and you're good to go.
And like Alex had said earlier, it's about fun. When you do the Trump dance, fun. It's fun to serve French fries. It's fun to drive a garbage truck. He hit the zeitgeist of America. He knew he had to put humor in there, and people would crack up at him being in a garbage truck. And everybody knew there's going to be 1,000 jokes with garbage men now, and there's going to be these great jokes with French fries. And Trump knew how to hit that nerve where the Democratic, their party of whoever's running the campaigns had no idea. And I'm going to go back about something that you brought up, Tom, and I'm going to get Alex's view. You said Joe and Micah, Morning Joe, went to Mar-a-Lago. I think that was just to kind of kiss butt because they know MSNBC is done. It's up for sale. They know they had to show the kind of kiss the ring because don't take us off the air. We're gonna try to understand you.
Well, hey, no, you know, there's a conspiracy behind that. Is that Joe Scarborough had an intern died in his office when he was in, and they say that there's like some weird. I don't know. This is speculation. This is all allegedly. If this gets clipped, I don't want Cato getting sued. I don't want Tom getting sued. You know, they would sue. But supposedly something weird happened with his staffer that passed away. That maybe he doesn't want potentially to come out because he spent the last 4 years calling Trump a liar. So you're right. They're kissing the ring because they're trying to get in his good graces because maybe they have skeletons to hide. I don't know, but
my point. Well, Joe Scarborough used to be a Republican. Okay, back in the day, I think it's look. They're savvy TV people. They know that they're on a sinking ship, and I think by spending time with Trump, I think it probably affected him because they realize he's not the devil. He's not this evil person that they've been talking about in the same way for years and getting people to believe this. And I think it may be, holy crap, they don't know what to do because they probably found themselves liking him. Did you see where Elon Musk wants to meet with Soros' son, George Soros' son?
He should. Cato, were you never on Celebrity Apprentice? I'm surprised you were never on that. You were on a bunch of reality shows. You never were on it?
The last season, I went in, I did the interview. I was going to be on the show, and it ended. So I met with them. I came out to New York. I did the, I forget who was casting it, but yeah, I did it to that last step. And I even have the Apprentice shirt. The little I work out, it says you're fired, and I have that shirt still at home. So, it was so close. I wish I was on. I did Celebrity Big Brother, but with Tom Green, and Tom was on, I think, that show right before it went off the air, and I was the next in line. Yeah,
That would have been perfect.
Dang it. And you would have won. Trump would have liked you, too, because, Cato, you're so likable and nice. He would have loved you. I know he would have.
Yeah, Cato, you're fired from this project, but I'm going to make you my campaign manager, okay? I want you around like Elon. I just fly around with us. I like your energy. Just come with us. You know, I spent a day, I don't know if I even told you this, Cato, or the better part of a day. Alex, I don't know if you've ever spent any time with Melania, but I literally spent a good part of a day with her. I was doing this cover feature on her for Jet Set magazine. Unbelievable access. We were in the hotel on Park Avenue, right? The Trump Hotel by Columbus Circle, and 55th or 105th floor, I can't even remember, but insane views, and just, you know, doing the interview, walking around with her, getting to know her, she was an impressive person. It was really cool. This was probably 10, 12 years ago, I would imagine.
Right. The hotel now, you know, the big thing going on with the hotel now, you've seen
Which one?
The one in New York? The big
the Plaza here. Plaza, right?
Plaza, New York, whatever Tom mentioned, right?
Well, the Plaza is what he used to own. I'm talking about the Trump Hotel on Columbus Circle, the big, his luxury hotel.
No, the one in New York.
In New York.
Whatever one it is, but everybody, young people especially, everybody does a 10-second Trump dance and they leave. It's all right in front of the hotel. So that's like the new craze going on now. Not just in, NFL games, which I'm sure there's something will be going on. And I think it's going to... when January 20th, 2025 comes up, I just think with the Super Bowl, I just think it's going to get even bigger. I just think that, and I really think America is going to be more united. Right now, they're not. There's going to be people going crazy, I think, with the inauguration. But with the day one, when he steps and starts doing what he says, promises made, and he always keeps his promises, I just think it's going to be so much more united. It may take a month and a half, but I think it's just going to be a change. Like the pendulum has swung.
Kato, think about this. You guys are in LA where the gas prices are ridiculous. Imagine how happy people will be when it's half the price that it was. Think about, especially people in California can barely afford to fill up their gas tank. Now they're going to be able to take their family and drive them around. And not, that immediately will make our country united if we can get cheaper gas prices. And it sounds so novel, or it's like a novelty, cheaper gas prices. But that is so important, and people are struggling, and those prices need to go down because it doesn't make sense that it's so expensive for gas when we produce all of it.
Tom and I can only visit friends that live downhill.
Yeah, exactly. Because what is it a gallon right now in LA?
For a premium, if you have premium,
Why
it's
would you buy
six.
premium?
Well, I don't.
Okay,
my
good.
wife buys premium. I tell her, I go, it's a scam, but $6. But
No. It's $4.89. Oh, for
not
premium?
premium. Premium is
Okay,
$6,
okay.
but $4.89 for regular, 87.
Okay, that's not bad. I thought it was a little more than that. I thought it was over $5 a gallon. But I'm just saying.
It fluctuates,
There's-
but it's going to go up 65 cents
gonna get
in
together.
January.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's going to go.
Can't wait.
California is going to have 65-cent increase on all the gasoline. In January.
Yeah, that tax got passed. Yeah, I saw something that got passed where they're going to, because they put the cost onto us, the people that have, make all the oil and gas, all the distributors, they put all those regulations that the government makes them pay onto us, the consumer. It sucks.
Good cause. An additional tax here in California. I can only imagine how great that'll be. Hey, you ready to talk a little bit about what Alex does here?
I was going to ask if I could talk about how he comes up with some of the things he does. And I told Tom, I said, Tom, please go to Alex's Instagram page and Primetime Alex Stein on Instagram. I said, go to his page and you got to see this Chinese dude. I have a Chinese wife, but you got to see the Chinese dude trying to get him to show his balls, his testicles, and he's standing up showing a bulge. I'm going, wait a minute. First of all, that was a Charlie Kirk, who I love, by the way.
Yeah.
How does that all happen that this guy approaches you? You try to stir it up so he'll approach you for that, or did that just happen on its own?
Well, that was real. Kato, that video is going viral, and it's got millions on Twitter. It's just been blowing up, and millions. So many people have shared it. But, Charlie Kirk, that's the Charlie Kirk's evil twin brother, me, Alex Stein, and I get to speak for Turning Point USA. I'm so lucky. It's a great organization that Charlie started, so I get to go to speak at a lot of colleges. Well, this is the first time I did a tabling event, and because, there was a big sign that said Alex Stein with my face on it, so anybody that really knew could tell it wasn't Charlie Kirk. But I just put that sign up there to see if we could trick some college kids. And that college guy walked in there, totally real, asking to see my testicles, and he won the debate. Kato, if you watch it, he won the debate. He put his finger in my face. He ripped my sign. But people love to see it because college kids are so deranged this day and age. It was such a great video and it was all real. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and you call it culture jamming, which is a great phrase, ambush interviewing, whatever it is. It makes for very, very compelling television and social media content. I'm interested in the process, Alex, because how much of a game plan can you have? I mean, you know where you're going and who you might run into, so you know which directions it could go. Is it almost like an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where you maybe have an outline and then you just run with it wherever it takes you? Or how do you prepare for this?
Tom, you have good taste. Well, different things have to do, different preparation for it. But it's funny how you bring up Curb Your Enthusiasm because, if you watch that show, I remember when it first came out, you're kind of like, this is cringe. This is hard to watch. But that's what made it funny. It's because he shows these awkward interactions. And if you can kind of just look at it for the awkwardness, it's so entertaining. And that's what a lot of my content is. It's sadly, I have to admit it, not all of it, but some of it's cringe because we're having these weird battles. We're talking about these weird things. And there's something about the awkwardness of it that they love. That's when I go to these city council meetings and I act like a crazy leftist. I'm like, Dr. Fauci, give me that ouchie. I want a vaccine. Give me that booster. And the first video I did. So let me tell you this. This is how I do it, real quick, Tom. And I've told this story a lot, but you guys need to hear it. I started speaking at city council meetings earnestly during the pandemic. I was like, you guys are locking it down. There was this guy that used to walk around Bachman Lake. It's like the lake near my house. And they shut down all the bathrooms. And this 81-year-old man, he stopped going. I'm Facebook friends with him. I'm like, I never see you at the lake. Is everything okay? He's like, yeah, I can't. They don't have bathrooms there anymore, so I can't change my colostomy bag. I just feel unsafe walking there because it's not a bathroom. I'm an old man. And so I went and spoke. I'm like, you're shutting down the public bathrooms. I spoke at the Parks and Rec meeting. I spoke at the city council meeting. They didn't give a damn. And I spoke serious. I was everything I do is kind of humorous. I'm a goofy guy, let's be real. But I was serious. They didn't pay attention. And then I went and they passed the heartbeat bill here in Texas where they banned abortion after 6 weeks. And that was a big deal. Everybody's talking about it on the news. So I went up there and I said, I'm so mad. I love abortion. I use it as a contraception. I can't go to Cancun now. I need this girl to get an abortion. And all these people shared it like, look how disgusting this guy is. And that was my first viral video. It didn't go as viral as my other ones, but then that's what I realized. I'm like, if I go up there and I act like a normal person, they get every other person that speaks at these meetings is complaining about something serious. I need to do the opposite, and I need to culture jam or astroturf like I'm a crazy person. Like the video that got millions of views, I went up there and I rapped and I said, on YouTube, they said that you could call for the assassination of Putin. You're not allowed to say you want to kill anybody on YouTube, but for some reason, the terms of service, because there's this clip of Lindsey Graham going around being like, we ought to kill Putin. It was okay. It wasn't a violation of terms of service. So I said, well, let me see how far I can push it. So I did a whole rap song. I said, gas prices way too high. Vladimir Putin needs to die. And the video went nuts because I was pushing the limits. I was saying, hey, can I even say that? We're allowed to say Vladimir Putin can die. And even though I don't really want Vladimir Putin to die, I don't really like Putin either. He kills people, kills journalists. I'm not even trying to be pro-Putin. I'm just anti the Ukraine war. And that resonated with people, me saying I want the vaccine. So it's weird. If you go up there and speak seriously, it doesn't have an effect usually. But if you go up there and act like a goofball, it's much more effective. And that's what propelled my career and kind of brought me up to the next level.
You can tell you've had some training on cheaters. You can tell.
Yes, I have. I worked on cheaters. But Cato, listen to this. Okay, so you guys like this story? You guys are in Hollywood. My good friend Clark Gable, you know Clark Gable from Gone with the Wind, obviously, right? Long story short, his grandson was hired to be the host of Cheaters. He grew up in L.A. His grandfather was, a lush, big drinker. So my buddy, Clark Gable Jr., his dad was wild. His dad was actually in TMZ, got in like a car accident on the PCH, and because he hit one car, it caused like a 13-car crash. So his dad was a mess too. And Clark was a mess. He had gotten stabbed, and so he had gotten some pain pills. This is no joke. He got stabbed, and not on the show, but in his personal life. Got stabbed, and sorry, my headphones. Did you guys say something? Say something real quick. Okay, I can hear you. Okay, yeah, just making sure. I thought you guys said something. I couldn't hear you, but let me just tell the story real quick. So he runs out of pain pills. He goes and buys pain pills on the street, what he thought was like Vicodin. They had fentanyl in it. The reason I bring this up is he was not a first person experimenting with a drug. He had a tolerance. He actually had a prescription to pain pills. So he had a tolerance to pain pills. Had no idea what was in it. Fentanyl. Took the pills, was not even partying, and he was a party animal. Like if you told me Clark died and you said, oh, he got shot at a strip club, I'd be like, that makes sense. But if you told me that he died just sleeping in his bed, I'd be like, how the hell did that happen? He's a wild guy. Well, it had fentanyl in it. He never woke up. And they said, Alex, you're going to be the next host of Cheaters. And I was so excited. I talked to the guy that owned the show. I got in great shape. I'd been working as a producer, so I knew the show inside and out, knew the segments, knew what the audience liked, yada, yada, yada. We're supposed to start the show, Cato. A month before we're supposed to start, they say, Alex, we still want you to be a producer, but we're not going to use you for the host. We want to get an African-American guy by the name of Peter Guns. He's a well-known rapper. You guys have heard his song. I forget what it's called. It's called like Uptown Funk, but it was a song in the 90s that was really popular. And I was like, I knew this was a DEI choice, not just because of the color of his skin, but because the show's distributed by Viacom, which owns CMT, VH1, and MTV. They made him change his name from Peter Guns to Peter Panky because they didn't want to glamorize gun violence. So that was it for me. I was so mad. I quit as a producer, and that's when I started my podcast. I started the podcast after about 4 or 5 months of the podcast. I'm like, what should I do different? The pandemic happens. Actually, this is probably 2 or 3 months into the podcast. Then I started speaking at city council meetings. That made me well known. Then I started confronting politicians. That made me well known. And then I started covering a lot of protests. So those 3 things, the podcast, the city councils, the confronting politicians, are 4 things, and going to protests. That's what all happened after I quit Cheaters. And that was the best decision I ever made. I thought it was going to be the worst when I quit that job, but it ended up being the best.
You push the limits. Do you have security with you? And what was the closest to a confrontation as far as, did you get slugged, anything like that? Because I watch your stuff. You do push people to the limits.
Yeah, I do, and it's like football. Tom knows sports. The second guy always gets the flag in football. The second guy that punches someone, so I can't punch him, Cato. So if there was a video of me at UT Austin, at University of Texas Austin, I'll just say it, I got my ass kicked. The guy came and hit me from the back, hit me from the side. I was able to get out of it, but I would like to get up and start throwing haymakers. I was able to push him off. But I can't punch them, and it does suck that I get hit like this. And if I'm filming it, I just can't. I cannot punch somebody.
But that also shows how crazy these people are, right? Where you don't want to punch back, but they will take it to a level where they're almost like violent, right?
This stuff is all there's violence.
Yeah.
I watch and I go, oh man, he's gonna get destroyed here.
Yeah, that's the last thing you want to do is fight back, because it's just
happening.
shining a spotlight on how crazy they are. Yeah, there's got to be a lot of pressure going in there and think, I got to make a viral moment out of this, or does a lot of just happen on its own? And you've probably gotten really good of, man, you scan a crowd, you know where to go, you know somebody that's going to give you some good material, or you know where their weakness is, and you kind of press and get them maybe to become a little bit more unhinged. But there's a science to this. Not anybody can just go out there and do it. It's a real talent, Alex. Yeah. Your comedic background helps. You're fearless. And I also love the fact that, didn't you run for city council too at one point? Weren't you part of the political process?
No, I didn't run for city council. I ran for school board, and I didn't spend any money. If you spend over $400, you have to do all this campaign finance form. So I just filled out the form to run as a publicity stunt, and I just kind of did it in my local school board. I live near the school, just to kind of scare the people at the school, because my house is nearby, and I'm worried that eminent domain, they just got a big tax increase where they're going to start buying houses, and my house could be bought by them, which sounds like it'd be good, but it's the house that I've grown up in. I inherited it when I was 18, so I don't want to leave this house. I love this house. But my point is, I kind of did that as a gimmick and a joke. But when it comes to making this content, I'll be honest, a lot of it's luck. But luck, the definition of luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So I have to be prepared. I have to go out there. I have to mix and mingle with these people. But you have to get lucky too, because a lot of times you interact with somebody that's not interesting. So, you have to just keep on putting in the hard work, and the more stuff you go and film, and the more protests you go to, the more meetings you speak at. Somewhere, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. Somewhere it's going to pop off, but it's all about consistency and getting lucky at the same time.
Well, hey, what did you learn doing the Charlie Kirk appearances, leading up to the election at college campuses? What did you learn about college students? Because, man, the different parts of the country, views are going to skew different ways, but do you think that colleges are really, really, I mean, come on, 80% of the professors are eschewing, a certain
socialism,
right? And they're hearing that, but are they craving freedom? Are they craving truth and keeping the government out of them? I mean, when you compare the rallies sometimes where you see Kamala on one side and what Trump was doing with his, and when you guys were playing such a valuable role, but what'd you learn about college students just from doing that tour?
Well, I spoke at Oregon State. I spoke at a lot of places that are very liberal states, and I wore a MAGA hat. Yeah, there's some students that had, big eyes like that, but most students, I got a video that went viral on YouTube. I say viral, I got 1 million hits, but a kid said, I think your hat is so cool. I want to come up and talk to you. And 10 different students did that same thing. They said, cool hat. And it wasn't like sarcastic, like cool hat. Like people were like, that's cool. Like that's cool. And so, yeah, the college campuses are changing. Of course, we're always going to have liberal people. There's always going to be conservative people. But now I think it's finally socially acceptable to like Donald Trump. Like it's not as bad. After being called a Nazi for 8 years, people are realizing that he's not a Nazi. And so I am seeing the change on college campuses that people it's okay. It's cool to it's punk rock to like Donald Trump. And I've seen that in a lot of college kids. You saw that those fraternities too that are going viral doing the Trump dance. Like the college campuses are changing, but this is the problem with the youth of America. And it's really not even conservative or liberal, but it makes you become a liberal. Children with the internet, when Tom and Cato and we were young, we had a Playboy magazine we looked at. It was a softcore thing. It wasn't that hardcore. Now these kids are watching hardcore pornography at a young age. They're all over-sexualized. They're gender confused. There's hormones in the water and stuff. So that's what I'm more worried about, is the over-sexualization and the sexual confusion of our young people. And that's a problem I don't think that gets talked enough about is how we're over-sexualized the youth of America. And it's having serious issues later on in life. Everybody's an OnlyFans model. We're desensitized to sex. Men are becoming more impotent. It's crazy how big of an effect that can have seeing hardcore sex at a young age.
When I was a freshman in college, this is in the late 80s, I took this class that was sexualization in pop culture or something. It was unbelievable. This is the late 80s. So this has been, programmed into people for years and years and years. It's only 1,000 times worse now. But even back then, I couldn't believe it because the professor broke down, the imagery that goes into magazine ads and television commercials that might be subtle, but when you're looking for it, it's so obvious how sex is just always triggered and always thrown at you. And you take these subliminal images for so long, and now it's just full frontal. But I mean, that's a big part of advertising, Madison Avenue. It's a big part. Obviously, it's entertainment. It's all the entertainment industry. It's music. It's everything. So you're right. These kids are growing up. I have kids. I have a daughter who's a freshman at Boston College and a son who's 15, a sophomore in high school. And, I do a pretty good job of monitoring, what he's watching. He's a great kid. I mean, he just really is. But man, kids are vulnerable and it's out there constantly.
You talk about the vulnerable, but real quick, kid, I want to say, and if you're an adult, listen, I don't hate sex. It's not even that we need to hate sex. It's just that we're over-sexualized. No, but you nailed it. But go ahead. Sorry, Cato. I just want to say that it's not like sex is so bad. It's that we're introduced to too hardcore of sex at
I've always said, like, porn doesn't, first of all, when you watch it, you can get it on your phone. It doesn't really educate us. It doesn't enlighten us. And it really doesn't come in clear enough where I live because I got a really bad internet connection. So this is what I'm saying, Alex Stein. This is what Cato Kalin's saying to you, buddy. It doesn't come in clear enough.
Alex, let's start a GoFundMe for cable.
Yeah, we need to get him a Starlink. We got to get you the Starlink. Elon can get you clear pornography.
Porn is giving me a bad rash on my nose. The porn's giving me a bad rash on my nose. I can't believe it.
But Cato, think about this. Howard Stern used to be so edgy. Now he's not at all. And I used to love Howard. But like that was the edgiest thing. You'd go on E! Television and there'd be the Howard Stern show and it'd be blurred out at least. And I remember watching that in high school. But because my internet was 56K. Like I said, we had a Playboy magazine that I remember I'd let a friend borrow. So it's just you talk about this internet porn. It's
I did radio. I did radio back in the 90s with Howard Stern was on, and then I came on after. But Howard Stern, it's different. The year 2000 Howard Stern would not like the year 2024 Howard Stern. I think that's
putting it mildly, right?
Yeah, it does. He doesn't, and I don't think he's relevant. I mean, I don't. Like I said, the celebrity endorsement's over. It's because he became, he's already said in a show he would not talk about cutting your audience in half. I hate Trump. I'll never have a Trump person on my show. He said, I don't like Trump.
He's turned into a total elitist. The opposite of what, he was the anti-elitist, and that's what made him so popular. I can't even imagine how many Sirius subscribers have dropped because of his political views. And how do you justify that $100 million salary?
I've done a show a few times.
Yeah,
I've done that show, and
I have no interest in him anymore, and I used to like him.
Well, think about how funny that would be when he used to make fun of OJ and stuff like that. That's, he used to be very edgy. Now he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't make fun of Jussie Smollett. He doesn't, you know what I mean? He doesn't make fun of these pop culture things anymore. So it's just wild to see the transformation. Like you said, Howard used to be like a libertarian, and he used to make fun of Rush Limbaugh and be like, Rush Limbaugh is a political yada hack. He would call Rush a hack. Yet when Rush died, Rush was arguably more controversial than Howard Stern because he was a Trump supporter. So think about that. That's how crazy it is in 2024 that Rush Limbaugh, who was always Howard's biggest competitor on FM radio, because I think Rush was the biggest on AM, Howard was the biggest on FM. It flipped where Rush Limbaugh was technically more controversial than Howard Stern. It's like Bizarro World. It doesn't even make sense.
Hey, I saw this clip that you did, Alex, where it was about being an agent provocateur and how you thought maybe something massive is going to happen to disrupt things going on in society here. Do you still feel that way? And can you maybe comment on that?
Well, as you talk about agent provocateurs, actually, and everybody needs to go Google Joe Rogan, World Trade Organization, and Alex Jones. They exposed this in the 90s where Seattle, they were having these WTO protests, and they didn't want them to protest. So what happens is you get like military people or CIA people or who knows, FBI agents, and you put them undercover and they go to a peaceful protest and they make the protest not peaceful. So then they could shut it down. So then they were able to shut down the protest. So that's what happened on January 6th. Whether you guys want to believe it or not, I get it. But the FBI admits when they're on the stand in Congress that they can't tell us how many numbers of agents were there. They don't tell us how many CIA people were there. There's videos of people wearing MAGA hats and showing badges. So my point is there are agent provocateurs that go to these events, and that even during the Summer of Love, you could argue some of the George Floyd stuff, maybe those were cops that go, and they're the ones that kind of instigate other people to act crazy. And that's why on January 6th there were people, they say Ray Epps isn't a Fed. I don't know. I don't know if he's a Fed or not. I just know that there were cops there that were undercover, and those cops weren't necessarily trying to stop the protesters. So agent provocateurs are around us. They go there and they go to these events, and they make a peaceful protest unpeaceful so they can shut it down. It's a real thing. These people have been exposed doing this for a long time.
Right, and we're going to find out more, I think, when obviously it's going to be opened up on January 20th and everything after to find out what actually happened. I always wonder why Nancy Pelosi's daughter was making a video that day. Why they're doing a documentary on that day. It doesn't... It will make sense one day.
And why didn't she order more? Why didn't she order more reinforcements? That Trump asked her to. And you know, you could argue that, hey, because the left, I do debates about this, are like, well, Donald Trump did kind of organize it. He did, I guess, in a way, have a campaign event, you know, not next to the Capitol. I think it was in front of the White House or on one of the other lawns. So, like, you could argue, I'm just saying that Donald Trump did rally support on that day, but to say that Donald Trump tried to do an insurrection, it's just provably false. They were able to reconvene in 3 hours and certify the election. So that's what just makes me frustrated. Is yes, I guess they did organize there. Was it a bad day for America? Yeah, it was a bad day overall because we got a lot of people that were good. That actor from Bob's Burgers or whatever, that Hollywood actor, they just put sent to jail for 2 years. Yet if you're a Venezuelan immigrant with a criminal record and you steal, you get deported. But if you went and walked around on January 6th, you're getting 4 to 5 years, 3 years. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I follow that. And first of all, Julie Kelly, I follow. I think she's terrific. And she's got all the updates of January 6th, but also how many insurrections you've been to where there's no guns. So by the insurrectionists. So it's so much. Yeah. I mean, Alex is a more than now. The stories are. We can go on and on because I
got a lot to talk about. Why are we done already, guys? That was a quick hour.
It's a quick hour. I just think I love that you got communication with Elon Musk about Earth's orbit. How come we can't get a
well, we can't take the Apollo. No, but then they community notes me because I'm in the clip I talk about.
I said, go ahead, explain that.
Well, this is the problem, guys. You guys will get really weird. The 1969 through 1972 moon landings, to me, are provably false. They deleted the telemetry data. They deleted the blueprints to this marvel of technology. So how it works today, the farthest we can send human beings is to the International Space Station, which is in low Earth orbit. Now, the moon is past low Earth orbit through the Van Allen radiation belts, which they say are deadly belts of radiation. And if you put film through it, they say that it would mess it up. But somehow the NASA people were able to do this. So whether you believe the moon landing is real or not, we don't have to talk about that. Is today we cannot send humans past low Earth orbit. I got community noted. They said, well, we sent a Suez rocket through low Earth orbit. We cannot go through low Earth orbit. Human beings cannot, in a ship, go past 120 miles from Earth. Yet we were able to do it in 1969 through 1972. So somebody's not telling the truth when it comes to space travel. And I want to believe Elon, he brought free speech back, but he doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's just like the figurehead. They're probably lying to Elon.
Well, OJ might know the answer to that because he was in Capricorn 1.
Yeah, he was in that movie. And that movie was made for TV. Wasn't that a hit though, or was it a flop? What was the story behind that? Or did that propel his acting career or something? That was his first movie, I think.
It could have been. I don't know if it's popular because of the trial, but I don't know if it was popular.
Well, I know, but I'm saying the Capricorn 1 where he's like on the moon or Mars or whatever. I think that was his first acting role, and it was kind of a serious role.
But it was a conspiracy theory back then about landing on a moon. Oh, yeah. It was a total conspiracy theory. The whole thing kind of reeks, not that, but also Stanley Kubrick, they say, filming hiring a director to show the moon, the people on the moon. It's the astronauts. There's just so much conspiracy.
And the blast crater. You go look at the footage. There's no blast crater. That thing lands on it. It has a big blast. But then you look at the rocks and the sand. There's no crater where this huge. The rocket had the thrust of like 27 47s or something like that. And there's not. If you guys get behind a plane engine, you can feel it from forever away. Like I said, I walk around the lake. It's near the airport. I'm far away from the planes taking off, but you can feel the jet engine, the pressure that the engines create. So you go look look at the way the lunar lander landed on the moon, there's not even dust on the prongs that are sitting there. So you would think that if it's pushing dust and sand all around, the bottom of it would be covered in sand. Go look at the pictures. They're not. There's no sand or dirt covering the rocket. So there's just a lot of stuff that's funny about
One thing that doesn't make sense is it was televised live, right? I mean, when you think about where television was back then.
Tom, they didn't give them the actual feed that was getting signal. They made all the television people, they had a screen at NASA and they had to just focus their camera on the screen. So it wasn't like they were getting a direct feed. So it's just none of it makes sense. And then you look at the astronauts when they land, they look like their dog just died. Not that they just did the world's greatest human achievement. And go listen to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan did 2 debates about the moon landing. He's a very smart guy. I really think Joe Rogan's I mean, he's not clairvoyant. He's not the smartest guy in the world, but he's a pretty sharp individual, very successful individual. And go listen to what he thinks happened about the Apollo moon mission.
Alex, as knowledgeable as you are on this, why not drive to Houston and do an ambush video in the parking lot of NASA?
I want to go talk to an astronaut. I would, but this is the other problem. I hate talking about space. This tweet's going viral because it pulls at people's heartstrings. People are like, older people that saw the moon landing, they don't want to believe that could be fake. They don't want to believe certain stuff. But this is, if we're really going to just wrap this interview up in a nutshell, this is the problem with society. We talk about the porn, we talk about this, but the biggest lie is that they teach children that we evolved from pond scum, that the Big Bang created everything and everything came from nothing, and that you're just this cosmic accident. Your life doesn't matter. There's no heaven or hell. There's no God. That's the problem, is that they teach children that there is no God. And whether you're Jewish, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, it doesn't matter. I think it's very important to have a spiritual knowledge and know that the world that we live in had to be created by somebody. Somebody had to press play on the record player of life, and that every human being that is born has won the lottery of life. We should be happy that we're born, not sad, not act like a victim. So whether you're religious or not, I really think organized religion's been hijacked by people, and that organized religion, a lot of them are probably pretty bad, actually. But having faith in a higher power, I think, is mandatory to even have a decent life in this world.
Older gentleman named Robert Gould, who passed away, who was a neighbor of mine, said that exact same thing. He said, you have to believe in something. You just have to believe in something higher, and I do. So.
Right, or else your life is just wandering, searching, right, and then falling for things. Hey, we're going to end this. I want your guys' opinion on something a little more serious. Are you guys watching Day of the Jackal on Peacock?
No, I haven't even seen it. What Day of the Jackal? Why haven't I seen that?
It's a new series. I think it was launched maybe 2 weeks ago. They've released 6 episodes, and there's 4 more that are going to be coming weekly. I've watched it. It's amazing. There was a movie called Day of the Jackal. Bruce Willis was in it. Jack Black was in it.
Way before that. That the movie was originally a French actor, but then Willis did the remake.
Yes, exactly.
Who's the writer? I can't.
And now
that movie was great, though. That movie was great. But wasn't it just called Jackal?
I think the original was called Day of the Jackal. So here's the premise of the one on Peacock, and I highly recommend it. It's brilliant acting. It's so good. I can't wait for the next episodes. So it's an assassin, a modern day assassin who was a sniper in the British military. I think I figured that part out. But it's, the range that he can take his targets out is just unbelievable. But his target now is this tech titan who came up with this app or this website called The River. And what it's going to do is going to expose corporations and where the money goes and bureaucracy. And it's going to like publicly post, where the money is flowing. That's why they call it The River. So there's a target on this guy. And it's coming out of these boardrooms in New York City where they put $100 million price tag on his head and they hired the Jackal to take him out. I mean, there's some parallels here.
All the way.
Are you worried about what could happen with Elon Musk and Vivek?
Tom, forget about Elon. I'm worried that they want to assassinate Donald Trump. They're not going to stop because remember when we saw that happen in Pennsylvania? If that would have happened, the government, the world, America would have been so heartbroken. It would have been terrible. But the mainstream media probably would have turned the shooter into a hero. I believe that would have happened. But now if they assassinate Donald Trump, that he's won an election and half the country loves him and knows that he won and he's going to be the future president, it would be exponentially worse. It would be 100 times worse if they were to assassinate him now. So I think that's a strong possibility that people like the Jackal or agents for foreign governments are going to continue to try to assassinate Donald Trump. I would be very careful if I was Donald Trump. I don't think he's safe. I'm very worried about his safety, and I mean that.
100%. I think in the Butler assassination attempt, the part that's puzzling, the shooter that they say the shooter is, the FBI scrubbed everything within 24 hours. He's got no internet, no friends, no Facebook page, nothing. And that's why I really want someone like a Kash Patel or a Dan Bongino open it up. I want to find out, because we will find out.
Kash Patel would be great. No, Cato, you nailed it. If he was FBI director, we'd get some answers. Cato, you're based, Cato. What did they do to you? How could you get like this in California? They radicalized you to be based. You're saying Kash Patel.
Wisconsin, my friend. And I'm a cheesehead. And getting back to Tom's, The Day of the Jackal, the Bruce Willis film, when Bruce did it, here's one for you guys. We'll end with a trivia question. In a scene, Bruce Willis is practicing on his gun, this remote, that he can do it when he doesn't have to be at the assassination. He can do it remotely. So he has a guy go out there putting, I think it's watermelons, says, move it this way, move it that way.
Black. The answer is Jack Black.
Whoa, I didn't even do the question yet.
Yeah, I've seen that movie a number of times.
I was going to say, what kind of truck was Bruce Willis driving? No, Jack Black was there.
Yeah. It was so cool because he had that special paint where he could just power wash it off so he could change the color of the van immediately. Do you guys remember that scene? That was in that movie. That is such a good movie. That was the best scene.
Richard Gere's horrible accent in that one. He was an Irish terrorist. I kind of liked the movie, though. I did enjoy it. But Day of the Jackal on Peacock, guys, check it out. Okay,
I love it.
All right, Alex, man, this is awesome. Thank you so much. Hey, check him out. Obviously, on the Blaze, primetime, Alex Stein.
Tom, you got to come on my show. Real quick, Cato's been on. You got to come on my show. I'd love to talk to you guys. We'll plug the podcast again, in a week or a couple of weeks or whatever. But I'd love to have both of you guys on, yeah.
But I also want to say, Alex, I got your number and all that. I want to stay in touch with you just as a buddy and all that, and go over some of our Dallas stories of my time when I was doing Eye for an Eye and where I stayed. And
yeah. Call me. No, I want to talk to you all about that. Yeah.
Greatest times of, when I pass away and all that, one of the greatest times of my entire life was 2004 through 2006 of doing these shows and being in Dallas and living there and then shooting these revenge challenges in Eye for an Eye. In Dallas in August, 114 degrees, I developed a diaper rash that you can't believe. I was outside for over 12 hours doing these things, and the heat was so intense, but I had the best time of my life shooting that show. Because
that's what happens when we were
That's
what happens when we were denim overalls all day in the summer.
I had to dress up as it was a budget show, as Alex will tell you, but so much fun.
It was awesome, but this is the problem, guys. This is what I'm Texan, tried and true, but California has the best weather. That's why it's the best state. It's got the best weather, and that's why Hollywood moved there.
No, it's the best. You can't get better. I mean, it literally is the best weather in the world. All right, we got to wrap this up. Alex, awesome, man. Awesome.
Love you, buddy.
Okay. Would love to come on your show too.
Guys.
So
you guys rule. Yeah, we'll talk to you guys again. Call me anytime. And Cato, text me anytime.
I will. I don't. Tom's gonna. Don't turn off your computer.
Yeah, keep the computer rolling as we upload this.
It's gonna load. You can go to the bathroom, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But don't show us your.
Go ambush somebody.
Yeah, don't show us your testicles. Get out of here. Love Alex Stein.
All right, man. Awesome. Okay, thanks. This was a great conversation. A lot of fun. Yeah.
Tom is fantastic at the energy. He just brings his A game always, and his stuff. I tell everybody to follow Primetime Alex Stein, Instagram, and X, all these things. It's a reality show.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
You ready? Okay, everybody follow us on social media. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We'll keep you updated on everything, and we're going to up this up to at least 2 episodes a week. And make sure you follow and listen to our audio podcast as well, which is when you're in the car. Enjoy it. For the one and only Cato Kalin. We got Zeus in the house back here. Zeus, good to see you, man. How you doing back there? You good?
Doing good. One thing, Cato, can you do the Trump dance real quick? Can you see your Trump dance? Let's do that.
Yeah. And I'm doing that sitting. I love it.
The Trump dance. I can't even do it. I won't even try.
I'll do it later.
I won't even try.
And now I'm going to twerk. Hey, cut the camera. No more twerking. Twerking's done. Trump dance now.
Well done, Zeus. All right. Cato
Zeus on fire.
Kalin.
Thank you.
I'm Tom Zenner. We'll catch you next time.